Welcome back to another episode of the world's best comic event podcast, Webheads.
Welcome!
I was like, it was good, and then I remembered it was you, and I was like,
Damn it, I should have turned around. You wouldn't have known.
I'm one of your hosts, DeMarco. We got my brother over there,
Juan.
Sorry,
I'm Steven. I'm sorry, guys. I should have done that.
You can't. I tried it last episode. It worked for me. Everyone loved it. Audience just sent me so many messages.
A lot of fan feedback on that one.
You try it.
We're gonna lose
listeners.
Yeah. I'm going to switch podcast.
Just stick to what you know, kid.
All right, let's get to it.
Hello.
So what you been up to?
Nothing. We're at the time of recording. It is Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm going to Ferrio's mom's house to watch it over there. I'm gonna make some bean dip.
Your famous bean dip?
Yeah. Her mom only eats halal meat, so I couldn't find any halal ground meat in time, so I just got some Beyond Meat. But I made it with Beyond Meat before. It's not bad.
Which would be cool.
Yeah. And that is, I'm going for the Rams to win it. Actually, to be honest, I don't care too much who wins. I have some money on a poll with Greg, so I'm hoping that I win that more than anything. And anybody else, however it goes, I don't really care. I like Joe Burrow on the Bengals. That's a little swaggy white boy, and I want Von Miller to win another Super Bowl. To just throw it in the face of the Broncos for trading him away. So, yeah. But other than that, nothing. Valentine's Day is also coming up tomorrow in real time. That's it. Just trying to get ready kids are ready for school in a couple months, which is nerve-wracking because now that we got her signed up and kind of like registered and all that, we get emails and phone calls from the school. But she's been registered for like a week. And in the last 2 weeks, the school has emailed us saying that kids in 2 different classes have been exposed to COVID. So those kids all the kids that have even come close to that classroom or those kids in the classroom have to get tested. And it's been a week and that's happened twice. So this isn't looking too great. And it makes me a little worried about sending her to school. But I know that, we're not going to turn this into a COVID podcast because I have a lot of opinions on that. But if you can get your kid vaccinated, just do the shit. I mean, yeah, they can still catch it, but yeah, let's talk comics. What have you been up to?
Well, like you said, it is Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to watch the game.
Okay.
I got some errands to run. I'm probably going to run to Target after this. And then go home, do some laundry, maybe plan out my meals for the week so I can cook dinner. And then, what else? Like you said, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend is not here, so I'll be alone on Valentine's Day this year. Aww, sad face, sad for DeMarco. But I think I'm going to... We don't normally do gifts on Valentine's Day. It's normally just like a Happy Valentine's Day, and then we'll spend the day together. But I think I'm going to try to do something, get her a little something, just to show how much I appreciate her.
Yeah, and that's the fun part about this, is that she won't... Well, she probably doesn't listen anyways.
Yeah.
But if she did, she wouldn't hear this until after.
I'm going to get you the what is it? The blow dryer comb combo thing.
Oh, that boy's spending money.
She had one, and then I got mom one for Christmas. Uh-huh. And she was like, I want that one. And I was like, well, you got that one, so you're good. But like over the past couple of weeks, she's like, it doesn't work very well. The bristles are kind of messed up. Like, it's not like pulling the hair out it's supposed to. Wow. So I'm I'm taking the hints. I'm just gonna buy her.
I was going to tell you, too, I would listen to your last podcast on that other show. And you were saying that Danny's a Lakers fan, but she can't watch a lot of the games because they don't show tons of Lakers games here. But I found I have an app a website that I use on my phone that you can watch any sports games.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what I was using during football season.
Oh, okay.
To watch like all the Broncos games.
Send that to me. I'll send it to her.
You better not say that you found it though.
I found this cool little thing.
Hey,
it's called
you were gone. I found this website. It's www.google.
And you can like watch like that. What's that thing you like watching with like the orange ball?
That sports team, the Lakes. That one. Yeah, you can watch all their games here. It's crazy. It's like this brand new thing. You just have to access the internet.
I felt bad yesterday because she hasn't been able to watch any Lakers games, and I happened to be at the bar when the game was playing, and she was like, I really want to see the Lakers and the Warriors play just so she can like feel the energy and everything, and then it happened to be that one game that she can't even watch when she's not here. And I'm just like telling her the score and everything. And she's like, "Can you just not do this anymore?" It's making me sad.
She could have watched it. It was a national game.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah. This one was on ABC yesterday. It was because it was LeBron he had like, I don't know, it was like 10 points to become the all-time leading scorer. And that's always a big game between the two of them anyways. So yeah, it was like prime time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I won't tell her that. I'll just tell her the website.
Man, you really missed that game. I'm so sorry. That was a good ass game too.
It was.
That was the first game I sat through like the whole way through for a really long time. That was a good ass game.
I was breaking my neck watching it because I was sitting at the bar, but the TV was here, so I had to like turn around and like watch this way. But then they were projecting it on the wall over here, and I just couldn't see it very well. But yeah, I was literally breaking my neck. And me and Kyle and Monica actually had a basketball conversation. I don't know shit about basketball, but it felt like I was like a true fan.
It doesn't matter now. What are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about the future. We're talking about the past. Talking about the present.
You can't talk about all three of those in one episode.
Technically, we're talking about the past because the story came out in 1978, I think.
Yeah.
1980, actually.
Oh, we finally hit the 80s?
Yeah, 81.
81, perfect. My favorite year.
So it came out in 81.
Oh, yeah, I said that like my story wasn't in the 80s last week.
Yeah. Came out in 81. I'm pretty sure the story takes place in 81 as well, too. But they jumped to the future, the faraway future of 2013.
Ho! What? 2013? That was a bad year.
You know what I want to see? I want to see someone like make a story set in the future and get everything correct. Like down to like the clothes and the hairstyles.
Yeah. That would be great.
Because in this story, they go to 2013 and her hair still looks like she's from the 80s.
You can only change so much in a certain amount of time, man.
I mean...
What do you think? This is a Simpsons or something?
30 years. There should be plenty of time. If you guys haven't caught on already, we're reading an X-Men story called Days of Futures Past.
Yeah, and if you didn't know that before you got to this point, how did you start this episode without seeing what we're talking about?
Just blind select.
Siri, play the newest episode.
But yeah, that's what we're reading today. And
right.
It's going to be fairly short. It's really only 2 issues that story goes through. I did read a couple issues before those ones, just to kind of... I was hoping I was going to get some backstory in there about, why it's happening or anything like that. Really don't. I figured because one of the issues is Kitty Pryde, so Shadow Cat. It's her first issue as an X-Men. So the cover says it has her in the center, and then it has Wolverine and Nightcrawler and Storm and Colossus and Angel around her. And it says, "Welcome to the X-Men, Kitty Pryde. Hope you survive the experience." So I'm like, okay, that's a good kind of place to start.
That's fucked up.
Because she's the main focus of the Days of Futures Past issue. So I'm like, okay, maybe this will give us some idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Really doesn't. And like we talked about in your episode last week, we just kind of get that introduction to her back then. So this one is literally just her joining the X-Men, and that's really it. So we'll start there, I guess, though. So, sorry, President texting me. President of my butt. Take that how you want to take it.
I'm not cutting that part out.
And so in that issue, it is X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 139.
Okay, so, and not far off from last week's story then. Because I ended on 137.
Yeah, so there's literally one issue after yours, and then it goes into this one. So at this point, Cyclops is actually off the team. He's taking a hiatus from the team after seeing his girlfriend get dusted by herself.
Yeah.
We start with the team in the danger room again, running through scenarios and everything.
Gotta run those drills.
Angel's back on the team at this point as well too.
A lot has changed in 2 issues.
And so they're running through the test. Kitty Pryde's in there, just watching the team do their thing. She's already in her X-Men costume for some reason. And so everybody's doing their thing. They're kind of... Cyclops isn't the leader anymore, and Charles is. So
he got what he wanted.
They're like making mistakes, running into each other. It's just been a whole mess. And so Kitty accidentally falls into the danger room, and the team has to not only watch out for each other and stay focused, but they have to also save her because they can't get her out for some reason because her powers are every time someone's about to run into somebody, they always use the example or the excuse that they're in shock and they can't move. But I'm like, you've been training for this stuff. That shouldn't be an issue. They eventually finish their run through the danger room. Storm and Kitty go off somewhere because Professor X has a surprise for her.
Oh, God.
And I think Wolverine and Nightcrawler have to go to Canada to figure something else out. Basically, none of this really matters, but Storm and Kitty go to a dance studio because Kitty likes dancing. Wolverine goes back to Canada to work with Alpha Flight because they need answers for something. They fight the Wendigo. Again, none of this matters. I did learn something, though, that Kitty, her name is Kitty, and now she's known as Shadowcat as her, code name. But they gave her the code name Sprite.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't know where it changed from Sprite to Shadowcat. Now, yeah, she's going by Sprite in these issues.
I didn't know that.
And so, yeah, they fight Wendigo. Everybody's happy.
The Wendigo ate your baby.
And then let's just jump into the actual event. So, we start off this issue in the future. We see a woman running through the streets, the dystopian, imagine New York, but destroyed. Buildings burnt out, trash and wood and debris all over the streets.
Yeah.
And you see this woman
Hell yeah.
just running through the streets, but quietly. She can't make too much noise because she's looking for somebody. And we zoom in, and it's an older Kitty Pryde. She's on the move, trying to get to the rendezvous spot to meet up with Logan. Because at this point, Logan doesn't live in the United States anymore. He went back to Canada.
Where he belongs.
And we find out that over the past 40, 30 years or whatever, it was from the 80s to 2013, the Sentinels have taken their main objective of apprehending and exterminating mutants to a whole nother level. And so they pretty much split humanity into 3 categories. So there's the humans who are non-threats. They can populate and reproduce as they will. There's, I forgot what the term they give them, but there's the genetic mutants like Spider-Man, Captain America, people who are normal people but have had mutations from outside sources in their life. Some of them they're illegal to be heroes, but they can still live their life if they wanted to, but they're being watched closely. And then the ones who are discriminated against the most, the mutants, they can't reproduce, they can't live their lives as normal. They have to live their lives in these camps and report in and out to a sentinel at the gate each time.
That doesn't sound good.
But outside the U.S., Canada is like a safe haven.
So, of course, this is just all in the U.S. where this is happening. So the Sentinels just came down and like, we're going to take over U.S.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why Logan lives in Canada, because he's working with the government there to help pretty much bring down or at least put a dent in the Sentinels' plan. Mm-hmm. We see Kitty running through the streets. She's trying to rendezvous with Logan, and she runs into what's called, they're called rogues. Mm-hmm. I thought they were
Rogue?
Yeah, I thought they were talking about rogue.
Okay.
But it's really just any, like, people just living on the streets, kind of like fending for themselves, like...
So houseless individuals?
I would say, I mean, they're just like, they're lawless people, you know? Like, they're going to move into a building and say, this is my building. If you come in,
so this is basically like
a Mad
a
Max.
Walking Dead kind of thing?
Yeah, like everyone for themselves outside the camps. And so these guys trap Kitty, and they're really just about to kill her. Like, there's not even really any jumping to that point. It's just like, you're a mutant, we're going to kill you.
Perfect.
And because she can't use her powers because she has the inhibitor collar on, she's literally, like, besides her own fighting skills, like, she can't use her powers.
Oh, okay. So the Sentinels put the inhibitor collars on all of the mutants?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she is, getting ready to defend herself against these three dudes, see how it goes. But luckily, Logan shows up. And at this point, still Logan, still has his black hair, but he has the white temples, to show that he's older. Time has passed. And he just takes these dudes out, no problem,
Of course.
And so him and Kitty meet up, and he gives her this little tiny piece. It's like literally like a little metal piece about 2 inches long. Mm-hmm. And it's a piece that's needed for a device that they're creating to basically give them a shot at taking out the Sentinels and the whole program to bring liberation to all people in the country. And so Canada's helping, but they can't outrightly help. So they're sending Logan to kind of bring in pieces here and there to do it. But this piece can't be detected by the Sentinels as she's going into the camp. So they do like an extensive like search of anybody going in and out. But this device that he gave her cannot be seen.
Okay.
And so she gets the piece and she heads back to the camp. And there's no like electricity or anything, so everything is run by almost Flintstone-y type thing. Like their bus has horses attached to it, but it's still a bus. So just horses pulling the bus.
They go back in time.
And there's a train. I mean, yeah. So she goes back to the camp, and she walks past like all the graves of all the mutants that have died in the camp, and you see the graves of Nightcrawler, Angel, Scott / Cyclops, Charles Xavier, and then you see the graves of some people who aren't technically mutants but are human mutates. Mm-hmm. So you see Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, the Human Torch, Susan Storm, all of them. They've all died up to this point. And so the world's heroes are kind of dwindling, and it's not as big of a group or as strong of a group that we are familiar with. Mm-hmm. And so she heads back to her little burrow with her the other X-Men that are still alive. And so we see Storm, Colossus, and then there's also another mutant there, Rachel, who can also has like telepathic abilities as well. And then also Franklin Richards is there. So Sue and Reed Richards' husband, son. He's technically a mutant because he was born with his powers. Unlike Reed and Sue, who gained their powers, but because they had them after they had powers. And then there's also a wheelchair-bound Magneto. And so that's pretty much everybody left of the old X-Men.
Man, Magneto's still going?
Yeah, but he's stuck in a wheelchair.
He probably made fun of Charles at one point.
And so they're meeting up, and they know at this point this is the night that's going to happen. This is the night they need to enact their plan, because if they don't do it, they may not get another chance. And so we find out the reason all this happened, all the Sentinels, all the imprisonment of people happened because back in the 80s, Mystique and the other Brotherhood of Evil Mutants decided to assassinate one of the top mutant hate senators running for president. They assassinated him just to show that, hey, mutants we're serious people, don't mess with us, which caused everything to kick into overdrive, which led us up to this point.
Okay.
And so we find out that the plan is actually to send Kitty back, or at least her mind, back to her 13-year-old body in the 80s.
So you're going to send her 40-something-year-old mind back to her 13-year-old body?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, well, she's going to have to work with the X-Men of that time to prevent the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants from killing Senator Kelly.
Yeah.
And so, they're like, yeah, we got to enact this plan. So her and Colossus have their little heart-to-heart, because at this point they're a thing. I don't know if they're married or if they're just dating, but they're a thing. So they put the device together, and Rachel is going to be the one to send Kitty's mind back. So she sends it back. We jump now to the past, 1980s past, and Kitty's back in the danger room again while they're running scenarios. And she's in the way again. I don't know what her issue is, but she's in the way. But everybody's taking care of her. They're just having a good laugh about it, because they're like, you're going to get in trouble for ruining this for us. And then all of a sudden, she just gets this mind attack happens, where she kind of just dozes off and then passes out. And when she comes to, this panel's kind of funny because she's just laying there with her mouth open. But they pick her up and they're checking her, and Wolverine says, I'm looking at her scans, and her brain scans are the same, but they're slightly different, which to them means something. There's another mind in there, an older mind, I guess. And so,
when did Wolverine become a scientist?
What did he say? And he keeps calling Professor X Charlie, and he says, please call me Charles, Chuck, Professor X, whatever you want. Just don't call me Charlie. But he keeps calling him Charlie. He's like, I ran comparisons between these and the ones in Kitty's med file. The basic pattern is the same, but they're more complex. Maybe Charlie or Moira McTaggart can puzzle it out. This is surely way beyond me. So he knows how to read the stuff, but he doesn't understand it.
So, I see something different.
This squiggly line's a little higher than this squiggly line. I don't know what it means.
Does it mean something? I don't know. Send it over to Charlie.
And then we see Nightcrawler, and then Kitty wakes up, and she's like, you're alive. She's all excited to see everybody. And they're just like, what's going on? Are you okay? You just passed out, and nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
She's trying to tell them, I'm from the future. This is what's happening. You guys, I need your help. And they're just like, you must have hit your head a little too hard. And she's like, look, I know it sounds crazy, but I need you guys' help. If you guys help me, you could stop this future from happening. If you don't help me, we're just going to roll the dice and see what happens. But I came here, believe me if you want to, but here's what I'm going to do. And so they jump on the jet. They're a little hesitant, but they do it anyways. And then while there, she tells them the whole story, what happened. And the Sentinels pretty much killed any super being, villain, hero, anybody who opposed them or tried to, just destroyed. Doctor Doom, Spider-Man, Captain America, Black Panther, Hulk, all done. And so she's telling them this, and she breaks down on the plane, and she's just like, I need your guys' help. I need to prevent this from happening. And then we jump back to 2013, and they already enacted the plan, because the first step was to get Kitty back to the past. So now they're moving through the sewers, and they have to take her body with her. So Peter's carrying her, and everybody's running, and then they hear a noise. And
Peter Colossus.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And then they hear a noise, and then Franklin gets vaporized. Like a beam of light just comes through, and then just his skeleton, and he's gone. And Magneto, at this point, Magneto's gone too, because since he's in a wheelchair, he decided to be the person to kind of buy them time at the camp in order for them to get out. So they've already lost Magneto and Franklin Richards. So now it's just Storm, Wolverine, Colossus, and Rachel. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So they get attacked in the sewers. They fight them off for a little bit. And then they get away. And so they make it out to the street, but now there's more Sentinels. And this is turning out to be a terrible plan. So what Colossus does is he just punches a building a lot until it falls on top of the Sentinels and crushes them. But he literally just punches a building, and then it just collapses on top of them. And then we jump back to 1984, or 89? 81. There we go. And we go to the Pentagon, and we see this woman walking through. She looks to be like a high security top person in the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. And she walks behind this door, and who do we see her transform into? But Mystique. And Mystique has been playing everybody, and she's getting into these high level positions so she can get close to Senator Kelly so they can kill him. Mm-hmm. And she already has her team. She has Destiny, which is she's a blind precog, so she can see the future. There is Avalanche, who can basically create earthquakes, and basically he knows the frequency of everything to make it shatter. Mm-hmm.
I like that his name's Avalanche, and the first thing you said that he can do is make earthquakes.
And then we have Pyro, who can control living flames. So essentially he can't make fire, but he can control open flames.
Yeah.
And then we have the Blob. And so they're in...
Real quick. Imagine that Mystique is transforming herself into these people to make it higher up in the Pentagon or wherever. Imagine that she does that just long enough to get these people into certain positions, right? She's doing her job to get into these positions, and then she stops being that person, and then that actual person shows up trying to do some different job, and they're like, "What are you doing? You got a promotion last week." And then, like, she just keeps making these people's lives better. Not really doing it purposefully, but in a roundabout way, making all their lives a lot better.
Better, but worse, because now they have a better job, which they have no idea how to do.
Yeah, they're not fully prepared for it.
They show up happy to work, but they're just like, shit. I'm just like every day, just faking it till they make it.
They're in a sink or swim situation every single day. But now all of a sudden they're getting paid more than they were when they.
And imagine like the chaos at the Pentagon, because it's like one week, like you go on vacation or something, right? Mm-hmm. And then Mystique takes your spot, gets you promoted or something, and then she does this for like 4 or 5 different people. Now the whole structure of the Pentagon is like, you think you work in one office, now you're working in a different part of the branch, but 2 other people are doing the same thing, and nobody's doing the job that you're supposed to be doing.
Well, you know what's funny is I've never really thought about what people in the White House or Pentagon are doing all day.
Yeah, you really do. Mostly because you don't know what is their job in the first place. Like, there's so many different jobs. But yeah, so they're in the office, and then Destiny is being like an instigator, and she's like, Blob over there is having some feelings about you being the leader, because he was on the original team where Magneto was the leader. But now since...
Is this Blob Herman?
No.
Oh, okay.
Herman? Who's Herman?
Well, no, that was his name, like Blob Herman.
Oh,
but
no.
He was like an actual blob.
Fred Dukes is his name. Yeah. So he was on the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants with Magneto, but since Magneto isn't around right now, Mystique took over. And so he doesn't want, his words, not mine, a broad to be running the Brotherhood of Mutants. No one else seems to have an issue with this. I mean, she got him out of jail, but he
Yeah, that's the part that I never understood about people saying stuff like that. Is like, I don't want a woman to be a president, but like they've been helped out by women like their whole life. Why? They're probably gonna run this a hell of a lot better than.
And how does it change your life?
It doesn't.
I mean, his situation, it could.
Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, she can turn into anybody, so it's like, it's not really like. I mean, yeah, I guess if she identifies as a woman, then
But
sure,
it's like,
but it's not changing the outcome of
yeah,
what's
had
going
she
on.
like, she can shapeshift into whoever she wants to be.
Yeah.
Like if she had just acted like, if shapeshifted into like somebody else this whole time, and you didn't know, and she did everything exactly the same way as she did, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
But it's because she's a woman doing it, all of a sudden it doesn't, you're not okay with it.
And so, yeah, he's just having some issues with that. And everyone else is like, chill. Like, we don't have issues. She got you out of jail. We're going to get this thing done, and we're going to show everybody that mutants are the top people on this
He
planet.
better not make it to 2013, I tell you that much.
And so we jump to still 1984. Mm-hmm. There's a hearing of the senator who's running for president, Senator Kelly. He's having a hearing about the mutant population and how dangerous they may be. And so Moira and Professor X are there. And then the other X-Men show up in their civilian clothes just to kind of show support, because this is where the murder is supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. And so Angel shows up in looks like a 3-piece suit for some reason, and just to press hearing. And during the hearing, you see the wall start to crack, and then an explosion happens. And then all the Brotherhood comes in, and they declare that they're going to murder him. And,
I do declare.
So they're going to kill him. But luckily the other X-Men are already there. And they change into their outfits, and it turned into a Brotherhood versus X-Men fight right in the middle of this Senate hearing. And that's where this issue ends. And then on to issue 142, second part of Days of Futures Past. Mm-hmm. It's titled, it's not titled, but it says, "This issue, everybody dies." That's what it says in big letters on the front cover. And on the cover we have Storm being...
So we're going to make the cover of the episode.
Storm is being held by a Sentinel while he's blasting Wolverine with the ray. So we jump into it again. Okay, so yeah, this fight breaks out. The police try to intervene. I don't know why you would want to do that.
They just said 3 issues ago that wasn't their place.
And yeah, so the X-Men and the Brotherhood are going at it. Nightcrawler versus Avalanche. He's getting some punches in, but Destiny, who's the precog, can see the future. She's telling Avalanche where Nightcrawler's going to show up, so he gets upper hand there. Pyro versus Colossus. You would think Colossus would win because he's stronger, but Steel versus Fire usually isn't a good combo. Mm-hmm. So he is getting not his ass whooped, but it's a fight.
Yeah.
Logan and Storm show up though to kind of give him a hand, and then for some reason Kitty and Angel are in the sky. I don't know why. Professor X and Moira try to make it out, and a policeman catches them and says, "Oh, come with me. I'll get you guys out safe." Mm-hmm. Turns out it's not an actual policewoman. It's Mystique, who gasses them and captures them.
I saw that as soon as you said it.
And so Mystique and Destiny grab Moira and Professor X. And then, we jump back to 2013. And they're sneaking through to the city now because they need to get to the main hub for the Sentinels in that area. If they can set their device off there, that'll cripple the whole network everywhere else. So they need to do this. So then if it cripples this area, that allows Canada and the other nations to come in and help with clearing up the Sentinels.
Okay.
And so they're sneaking around, and they get to the Baxter building because they need to get in there to get some extra device that'll help amplify everything. Mm-hmm. And so they get there, but it's being guarded by a Sentinel. So Storm has the idea where she'll go in, take care of the Sentinel herself, and then everyone else kind of follows after to create less of a scene. And there's literally a Sentinel in the front of the Baxter building, just like this, just arms crossed, like he's just like waiting for his time to clock out.
Arms crossed, scowl, just.
He's like, man, I was supposed to have today off.
15 more minutes.
They called me in. The other Sentinel never wants to come to work, and so Storm takes care of him. He collapses, and then they break into the Baxter building. Get to the top. Jump back to 1981. They're still fighting in the Capitol building. I don't know why.
Jeez.
At some point, when do you end the fight? I mean, the guy they're trying to kill is already gone. So what are you even fighting for anymore? And so I think at this point, Storm has just had enough as well, too. So she just creates this huge blast and just blows everybody out the building. X-Men, Brotherhood, everybody. Blows them out. And then they take the fight onto the street. And Blob and Colossus are going at it. They're throwing each other through buildings. Cars are being thrown. Wolverine and Colossus do the fastball special. Mm-hmm. For some reason, there's a tank there. Well, I mean, the army's there now. But they don't have, like, missiles. They just have, like, laser cannons on their tanks. So they get involved with the fight. And they bring a flamethrower, which is great because Pyro's there. So he turns that into a big fire monster. And Angel, for some reason, is fighting him. But then the fire monster grabs Wolverine and is just like holding him in its hand. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs because he's in so much pain. But luckily, Storm flies through the fire monster and destroys him. Nightcrawler saves Wolverine. But he's just like in such unbearable pain that he can't really do anything at the moment. So as Nightcrawler is helping him, he gets attacked by Nightcrawler. So there's two Nightcrawlers. And they're going at it, fighting. And then, they do the whole, kill him, no, I'm me, and he's the fake. So they go through the whole thing. And they eventually see that one of them is Mystique. We jump to Avalanche now, who is fighting Storm and Logan. He's tearing up the street. And then Peter Colossus walks in with literally, it looks like this thing's at least like 40 feet long, a steel beam. He just has it under his arm like he just walked in from Home Depot. And he puts it on top of Logan because Logan's kneeling down. He lays it on top of Logan like a seesaw. And then puts the other part under the Blob, between his legs. And then he jumps on the other end, which sends the Blob flying throughout the city out of the fight.
This is a lot of work. Did Blob see any of this happening?
No, he's like holding like a piece of the street. I think he's about to throw it. But then Colossus just slides and then seesaws him into the air. And then, while he's up in the air, he comes flying back down, and Colossus punches him, which causes him to knock out Avalanche. Storm takes care of Pyro by summoning Rain, and then Nightcrawler takes care of the other Nightcrawler, who happened to be Mystique, and takes her out. But she happens to get away in the nick of time. Senator Kelly's saved. We jump back to 2013. They're now in the Baxter building. But inside the Baxter building is another Sentinel protecting the thing that they're looking for. Logan thinks he's going to get the upper hand, so he has Colossus do another fastball special. But as he's midair, the Sentinel turns around and is like, do you really think that was going to work? And basically vaporizes Logan right then and there. Now, that's all that left is Storm and Colossus. Logan's body is just charred adamantium skeleton at this point. No flesh or anything. Storm is like, this is our last stand. We gotta just do it. And so she goes up, but then the Sentinel shoots her with like looks like a javelin. It's just a long pointed pole. But she gets impaled, dead. And then Colossus is having none of this. So he literally punches the Sentinel out of the building. And somewhere on the street, Kitty and Rachel are like protected because someone has to watch Kitty's body. So they're just like hiding away, hoping that what they did by sending her to the past is working because it's not they're pretty
not
much done
seeing-
at this point.
Yeah.
And so we jump back to 1980. We see Destiny had also captured Senator Kelly, so she's the only Brotherhood mutant left, and she has a gun pointed on him. She's ready to kill. And Kitty shows up, and at the last second, Destiny, she doesn't have a gun, or she has a crossbow. It's a weird choice to murder somebody with.
Yeah.
But last second, Kitty shows up and saves Senator Kelly. And right after that, her mind goes through the whole thing again because that moment saved the future.
Yeah.
So after that, everybody comes to save her. They pick up Kitty and they save Professor X. They jump back on the jet. And that's pretty much the end of it. Actually, it ends with something that has nothing to do with the story. But Peter Gyrich is here.
Oh, fucking Gyrick.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
So it's relatively short.
Yeah.
It wasn't boring, but it was predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of felt like it was too short.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like the stakes weren't as high for some reason, you know?
I could see why they thought that would turn into a good movie. Because then you can flesh it out more and add more to it. But yeah, 2 issues doesn't seems rushed.
Yeah, it just seemed, they were, Kitty shows up, tells them what's happening. They go there. And then just one big fight. And then that saves the future. Like, I don't know, it seemed rushed. It seemed like they could have easily fleshed it out a little bit more and given the future a little bit more time to kind of see, like, for the stakes to, like, build from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was okay. From what everyone talks about it and, like, the history, that it was kind of a disappointment
these are, like,
from that standpoint.
2 of the biggest X-Men stories.
Yeah.
I feel like. And I don't know if that's because of the movies. They're just big because they found this story, they pulled it and made it a movie. Or if these were big before that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving it the Webhead stamp of approval this week.
I don't think
on my end. It's getting a Paul Walker.
I said forget about it, cuz.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I feel like what's more iconic for this story is the cover. The one with, like, Wolverine protecting Kitty and the butt. Yeah, I think that's more iconic than the actual story itself.
Yeah, the story.
I think I could have been okay just reading the plot synopsis online and feeling like, okay, I understand what's happening.
I feel like you could have done that and I would have gotten the same story.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have. We probably could have read the Wikipedia page on that and gotten the same thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, not a great one. Sorry, X-Men fans. It's not great.
No. Sorry, this week is not going to
Not a
get a
good
stamp of approval. No house explosion on this one.
Nope. You guys are safe this week. And next week we got another crossover.
That's the sound of a crossover. Crossing.
Batman versus the Incredible Hulk.
Such a weird combo. You would think, like, Batman would, like, team up with, like, I don't know, like Captain America or something.
That's what you would think. I don't know if I would want to see those 2 specifically together, but I feel like it would make more sense Batman and Iron Man.
I can see that too.
Well, mostly just because they're both rich assholes.
Yeah. I mean, but that's really it. Because I can't imagine them, like, meshing. Like, where I can't see where Iron Man can come in to fill any hole that Batman can't fill, and vice versa. You know, like, they both can create whatever they need for the situation. So I don't see why they would need the other to.
Yeah, and I haven't read either one of these, so I don't know if they're going to team up like Superman and Spider-Man did, or if they're actually going at each other.
I feel like with the Hulk one, they're probably going at it.
I would hope so. I hope Batman loses, like, badly.
If I know anything about these, DC characters never lose in these crossovers.
The Batman's gonna look just as strong as the Hulk, if not a little bit stronger. And then we have another. I feel like it's well known, coming up soon. The Contest of Champions. I don't know if anybody else knows about that, but
So where, like, the Beyonder, he pulls in his team, and
so that's coming in a couple of weeks as well. So This wasn't a horrible story, but it wasn't it.
It wasn't a dud. It just didn't explode how we thought it was going to explode.
Yeah, they could have expanded that for sure.
It was more of a sparkler than an M80.
Yeah, and I hate sparklers. What's the point? You think I'm a kid? You think I'm a kid?
Explosion.
All right, guys.
That was a hot book.
That was a... Had to do one. I couldn't let this episode go without getting one. But, yeah, that is another episode. Our second X-Men story in 2 weeks. And it won't be long before we see them again. They're going to pop up pretty soon. Probably within the next month or so. We are finally getting some more... I like that because we're finally getting more characters besides Captain America, Namor...
Spider-Man.
We've already had, 3 or 4 Spider-Man stories.
I like Spider-Man. I like turtles.
I hope that kid's doing okay. I pray for that kid sometimes.
I like that one kid who was like, they interviewed him and he was like, apparently, I've never watched television.
That kid did not know what apparently meant. At all. My favorite one's the kid where he's like, they're interviewing him and he's laughing for a second, and then he just starts crying.
That's all of us when someone asks how we're doing.
Yeah. Don't ever ask me how I'm doing. Because if we're close, then I'm just going to tell you that I'm good. But the minute somebody that I haven't seen for a while, or like just some random person's like really asks like, how are you doing? Oh boy. I'm fighting those tears back. I'm sitting there through gritted teeth, just trying to force out I'm good.
You look like that one guy from the memes. You know, it looks like he's always crying.
Yeah. There's tears just pouring down my face. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, things have been great, man. But now that you guys know that I'm always stressed and depressed, we will be back next week. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.